So when you call up that shrink in Beverly Hills, Doctor, everything will be all right. Things are much better in the afterworld. In this life, you're on your own. And if the elevator tries to bring you down, go crazy. Punch a higher floor. You're on your own. Gift of life. And the elevator tries to bring you down. Take a look around. At least you got friends. Call my old lady for a friendly word. Picked up the phone, dropped it on the floor. That's all I heard. Are we gonna let the elevator break us down? Oh no, let's go. Let's get nuts. We'll look for the purple banana till they put us in the truck. Prince's spirit is with me right now, y'all, because I have Pandora on, and just when I was going live, this song came on, Let's Go Crazy by Prince. And you know I'm starting off with Prince tonight. All gonna die. When we do, what's it all for? Better live now, for the Grim Reaper come knocking on your door. Tell me now, I'll let the elevator bring us down. Oh no, let's go. Let's get nuts. We'll look for the purple banana till they double us in the truck. Come on, baby. All right, how are y'all doing? Welcome, welcome, welcome. Happy Gemini season once again. Happy birthday to all the Geminis, Prince included. Let's go crazy. You know, when that movie Purple Rain came out, man, that was one of the movies that changed my life. Man. I was just like blown away. Oh no, let's go crazy. Let's go, let's go, let's go. Doctor, everything will be all right. Make everything go wrong. I'm just waiting for the room to fill up. Oh, while I'm waiting, let me set up the live stream. Just 1 second, y'all. This guitar at the end, oh my God. Down, 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 down. Blessed be. Be away. All right. All right, let's get it on. All right, let me just set up this live stream real quick. Hope everybody is doing well. All right. Hope y'all are staying cool because it's starting to get really hot, at least where I'm at. What's going on in the news? Something, oh, did y'all hear about that shooting where somebody shot, um, they shot at a bunch of kids at like a water pad? I think this happened, what was this, Ohio? Or maybe it was Wisconsin. I don't know, but that was crazy. And I do have to say, with Pluto and Aquarius, children are especially vulnerable with Pluto and Aquarius, because Aquarius opposes Leo. Leo rules children. So I won't be surprised if we see more attacks upon children. And then, there was that attack upon that 3-year-old boy from that demonic chick that went down recently. So yes, protect your children. Guard them with your life. Because it's getting crazy out here. They're coming for your children now. Well, they've been coming for your children for a while now. But yeah, with Pluto and Aquarius, it's about to get worse. And I hate to be so pessimistic and cynical, but I mean, it is what it is. Like, most people can agree that this world seems like it's under a spell and things seem to be getting worse across the board. So yeah. Yeah, it's terrible. It's a sad situation, but I'm not going to tarry too long. We're going to jump right into this discussion on Sun opposition Saturn. So this is part 2 of Sun opposition Saturn. So let me share my screen and we're going to get right into it. Just one second. What am I looking for? All right. Don't you remember you told me you love me, baby? All right, so we're going to do like we did last time. So when you see the picture, press 1 so I know that we're on the same page. All right. Okay, I can see it. So, okay, Jane, press 1. Yeah, I can see it too. Okay. So we're going to start off with Prince. So Prince is a Gemini, and he has Sun in Gemini opposing Saturn and Sagittarius. So there was thank you guys for pressing 1. There's a lot of his life experiences is dealing with this opposition. So basically him being honored, being awarded in a number of ways. Like when you talk about reaching the pinnacle of success, which is what that Sun opposition Saturn can represent on the good side, Prince definitely embodies that. So Prince sold at least 100 million records worldwide during his lifetime, ranking him amongst the best-selling music artists of all times. His awards include the Grammy President's Merit Award, the American Music Awards for Achievement and of Merit, the Billboard Icon Award, and an Academy Award, and a Golden Globe Award. He was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 2004, the UK Music Hall of Fame in 2006, and the Rhythm and Blues Music Hall of Fame in 2016, and was inducted twice into the Black Music and Entertainment Walk of Fame in 2022. So the fact that he's on all of these halls of fame and inducted and all this stuff, very much Sun opposition Saturn. Says estimates of the complete number of songs written by Prince range anywhere from 500 to well over 1,000. So this is dealing with this opposition too, because with this opposition, Gemini is representing his writing, and Sagittarius is representing basically the source, because Sagittarius is actually the source. It's representing that divine source, the source of all of his writings. And with this opposition, it's like endless ideas, endless possibilities. And that's why he has so many. And when he died, he had all this music in a vault that he had never released. And remember, I said Sun opposition Saturn people, they can sometimes feel like their work is never ready or it's never good enough. So he has so many songs. But of course, you can't release all those in his lifetime, but I'm sure he had a lot of songs that he never thought were finished or that were complete to be released. Prince was named after his father's most popular stage name, Prince Rogers, which his father used while performing with Prince's mother in a jazz group called the Prince Rogers Trio. So the fact that Prince's father was major impact upon his life, you might as well say Prince's father was like his mentor. So that opposition can play out as your father being your mentor. So his father, Prince's Saturn is in his second house. So second house has a lot to do with music and also his father's values and things. His father was always religious. So that's where that Saturn and Sagittarius is coming in from too. It says in 1991, Prince's father told A Current Affair that he named his son Prince because he wanted Prince to do everything I wanted to do. Prince was not fond of his name and wanted people to instead call him Skipper, a name which stuck throughout his childhood. So remember, I said that Sun opposition Saturn can deal with a father that wants their child to follow in their footsteps, and that's basically what's happening. But, Prince had to go his own way in life, and that even included the name, even though, he stuck with the Prince name, but you even see later down the line, he had that issue with Warner Brothers and stuff, which deals with that opposition too. But this just shows too, remember I said the father could be a major impact in the child's life, the child that has Sun opposition Saturn, but really there's a lack of closeness there. And that's exactly how it was between Prince and his father. Now, in 2022, during a Minneapolis teacher strike, Minneapolis St. Paul news station WCCO-TV was researching a previous teacher strike in April 1970 and accidentally uncovered an interview they had done with Prince about that 1970 strike. Prince, who was 11 years old at the time, said about the strike, "I think they should get better education too, because I think they should get some more money because they work. And they be working extra hours for us and all that stuff." So the whole media thing, and Gemini rules the media. So it makes sense that he was basically being interviewed. And with that Sun opposition, Saturn and Sagittarius, he's talking about better education. Sagittarius is the sign of improvement. And then he's talking about more money. That's Saturn and Sagittarius in that second house. Working extra hours for us and stuff. That's Saturn and Sagittarius all day. While he never identifies himself in the interview, it was confirmed to be him through interviews with a historian in Minneapolis, who is also a fan of Prince, as well as by a former classmate who was a member of Prince's first band. The video is one of very few videos of Prince from that stage of his life. Prince had a fraught relationship with Omar. Omar was his half-brother, to the extent that it caused him to repeatedly switch homes. Hey, Blazin'. Sometimes living with his father and sometimes with his mother and stepfather. So him having challenges with his sibling, that's Sun opposition Saturn as well. After a brief period of living with his father, who brought him his first guitar, Prince moved into the basement of his neighbors, the Anderson family, after his father threw him out. So being in the basement of his neighbors, that's Sun in Gemini, in that eighth house, his father kicking him out, that would be Sun opposition Saturn, with Saturn being in Sagittarius. In 1981, Prince formed a side project band called The Time. You see, remember I said time is a major theme with Sun opposition Saturn, and he created a group called The Time, which was a very good group, by the way. Hold on. One of their most famous songs was Jungle Love, which they performed in the Purple Rain movie. Also The Bird, and also, and it's funny, Birds, Gemini. And then also, what was that other song they had? Cool. I loved Cool. Now, in late 1982, Prince released a double album, 1999. Again, you see how he's so focused on time. He created this song, 1999, and it became the title of the album. And he's talking about basically 2000 party over, it's out of time. So tonight I'm going to party like it's 1999. He was very focused on the time, and especially the end times. So that's very Sun opposition Saturn. So again, In late 1982, Prince released a double album, 1999, which sold over 4 million copies. The title track was a protest against nuclear proliferation and became Prince's first top 10 hit in the countries outside the US. And then even deal with the countries outside the US, that's Saturn and Sagittarius. And think about his song Sign of the Times, and he made that the title of another album. So again, Prince was very focused on time and the times, the end times, all of that. Prince was extremely religious, which deals with this opposition as well. But because of the opposition, it's showing that he was at odds with himself in terms of his religious beliefs. Even to his death, to the day of his death, I believe, because he had joined the Jehovah's Witnesses. And I'm like, come on now, Prince. But, you can't be great in all ways. You always going to have some flaws. Because I believe the Jehovah's Witness is like a cult. But, yeah. But this statement, this lyric right here, and if the elevator tries to bring you down, go crazy. That's the song I was singing when this video first started. And if the elevator tries to bring you down, go crazy, punch a higher floor. Saturn rules elevators because Saturn will bring you up to great heights, but it can also bring you down to the ground. So Prince talking about the elevator, and if the elevator tries to bring you down, that's the epitome of Sun opposition Saturn. And he's saying, go crazy, punch a higher floor. That's Saturn and Sagittarius. And then also in the song, he says, are we going to let the elevator bring us down? Oh, no, let's go. He's saying we're not going to he's facing that elevator, which is basically, the elevator was a euphemism for the devil. And Saturn rules the devil. So Prince, he was pretty versed in astrology. He had zodiac symbols all throughout his Paisley Park studio. So I'm sure he had learned about Saturn for him to even, and the elevator, all that. Now, did he know that Saturn equals elevators? Probably not. But you speak your chart all the time. And he, the term elevator, I don't even know if it's associated with the devil. That's something I may need to research. But yeah, I just find that I just love this part, because it's so dead on. And guess what? He died in an elevator, which I believe was fixed, was prearranged. I don't believe that he died of this self-induced overdose. I believe that he was murdered, like a lot of celebrities, like Whitney Houston and a bunch of others. After Tipper Gore heard her 11-year-old daughter, Corinna, listening to Prince's song Darlin' Nikki, which gained wide notoriety for its sexual lyrics and a reference to masturbation, she founded the Parents Music Resource Center. The center advocated the mandatory use of a warning label, parental advisory, explicit lyrics, on the covers of records that have judged to contain language or lyrical content unsuitable for minors. The recording industry later voluntarily complied with this request. So this opposition is dealing with Sun opposition Saturn. This opposition is dealing with this situation with Tipper Gore, basically Prince going up against, or the politicians going up against Prince, because Tipper Gore was the wife of Al Gore, and we know Al Gore is a politician, and he was vice president. Who was he vice president of? Was it Bush? I can't remember. Or was it Clinton? Anyway. So also Sagittarius deals with morals and ethics, and with Prince's sun being in the 8th house in Gemini, that's where some of his lyrics were very sexual, including Darlin' Nikki, which Tipper Gore really had a serious problem with because her daughter was listening to that song. So Prince was largely, so was Bill Clinton, thank you. Prince was largely instrumental in that whole parental advisory label inadvertently. Now, in 1993, in rebellion against Warner Brothers, which refused to release Prince's enormous backlog of music at a steady pace, So his enormous backlog of music, that's Sun opposition Saturn all day, with Saturn and Sagittarius being in that second house. To use the symbol in print media, Warner Brothers organized a mass mailing of floppy disks with a custom font. At this time, Prince was often referred to as the artist formerly known as Prince or the artist. In 1994, Prince began to release albums in quick succession as a means of releasing himself from his contractual obligations to Warner Brothers. He also began appearing with the word slave written on his face. He believed Warner Brothers was intent on limiting his artistic freedom, Saturn and Sagittarius, in a second, by insisting he release albums more sporadically. Sporadically, that's Gemini. He also blamed Warner Brothers for the poor commercial performance of Love Symbol, claiming they had marketed it insufficiently. It was out of these developments that the aborted The Black Album was officially released 7 years after its initial recording. The new release was already in wide circulation as a bootleg. Warner Brothers then succumbed to Prince's wishes to release an album of new material. Now, this is just basically pointing to him going up against a corporation, Warner Brothers, who had signed him to a multi-year, multi-album contract. He had been with Warner Brothers since the very beginning. According to Garcia, she and Prince had a son named Amir, born October 16th, 1996. So, Prince had a child, but that baby didn't survive because the baby had a serious disability called Pfeiffer syndrome. And there was some, issues surrounding that controversy because Prince really didn't want the public to know. And that's very Sun opposition Saturn, with Sun and Gemini being the media and Saturn being where you're trying to shut them out. So he did do an interview with Oprah, and that's where they were talking about the baby, but they didn't talk about the state of the baby's health. So Maite, his wife, who was his wife at the time and the mother of the baby, she came out later in her book saying that Prince forced her to be quiet about it. And, she basically tried to make him look bad. But anyway, it says, according to Garcia, she and Prince had a son named Amir, who died a week after being born due to Pfeiffer syndrome. Attempts by publications to independently verify the child's name, birth, and cause of death proved difficult due to Prince's focus on privacy. The distress of losing a child and Garcia's subsequent miscarriage took a toll on the marriage, and the couple divorced in 2000. So remember, I said Sun opposition Saturn can deal with being denied children. So that was Prince's case. He basically was denied children in this lifetime. And remember, I said it could deal with a child that has disabilities as well. Prince was an observant religious person from childhood and throughout his life. An abiding love of God and Jesus were reoccurring themes in his work, often closely intertwined with romance, sexuality, and sensuality on songs such as I Would Die For You and albums such as Love Sexy. In March 2016, while discussing his childhood during a show in Oakland, he told the audience, I wanted to be like my father, and I loved everything he loved. My mother, the Bible, and music. Sun opposition Saturn, and wanting to be like his father, following his footsteps. Now, a complete recitation of the Lord's Prayer featured in the full-length album version of his 1981 hit Controversy. His 1984 track Darling Nikki, while dealing with explicit subject matter involving an encounter with a sex worker, contained the following backward message. Hello, how are you? Fine, fine, because I know that the Lord is coming soon, coming soon. This is often thought to have been an ironic response to the satanic backmasking scandal of the 1980s. That same year, he released a B-side simply entitled God. So I remember that, like, after Darling Nikki, there's this like song in reverse. And as a kid, that shit scared me. And I remember me and my sisters, we would be listening to the Prince cassette, the Purple Rain cassette, and Darling Nikki was on there. And I would always run out the room when that part came on, because it did sound satanic, because back then that was during the satanic panic era. So they would talk about like backmasking, like songs played in reverse having satanic messages and stuff. So, and back then it was rumored that Prince was a Satanist, and there was also rumors about his sexuality and stuff like that. So yeah. But then years later, I've come to love that part of the Purple Rain album. It's beautiful when you really realize that he's saying this in reverse. Hello, how are you? Fine, fine, because I know that the Lord is coming soon, coming soon. Prince became a Jehovah's Witness in 2001 as a result of his friendship with bassist Larry Graham. He did not consider it a conversion, but a realization. That's the sun right there. The sun deals with realizations. Comparing his connection with Graham to Morpheus and Neo in the film The Matrix. He attended meetings at a local Kingdom Hall and occasionally knocked on people's doors to discuss his faith. His newfound faith will also heavily influence his 2001 album, The Rainbow Children. The CD edition of his 2003 instrumental album, News, contained an Adobe Flash file that slowly displayed the words he calls us to become when the disc was inserted into a computer, being a reference to the name of Jehovah and Witness theology. Garcia said of Prince's religious beliefs, he was always a spiritual seeker, fascinated in all possibilities to integrate the signs of the zodiac and third eye and reincarnation into the Christian beliefs. His Baptist mother and Seventh-day Adventist father, I grew up Seventh-day Adventist, had exposed him to. At the time of his passing, Prince's display picture on Twitter was an illustration of him with both eyes closed and a third eye on his forehead open. And that's very much Sun opposition Saturn and Sagittarius. How beautiful. All right, moving on. Tell me when you can see the next picture. Just press 1, please. Last night I dreamt of San Pedro. I was listening to that song today. Tropical the island breeze, all to make it wild and free. This is where I love to be, La Isla Bonita. And when the samba play, okay, your Spanish lullaby. That's when Madonna was at the height of her career, if you ask me. I want to be where the sun warms the sky. When it's time for a fiesta, you can watch them go by. All right. Yes. Who we got here? Toni. You mean the world to me. You are my everything. Yup. I'll never breathe again. He wasn't man enough for me. What's the other one that I like? Making Me High. And my favorite Toni Braxton song is Let It Flow. Oh my God, I love that song. First thing Monday morning, I'm gonna pack my tears away. Got no cause to look back. I'm looking for me a better day. I love that. So that song makes me cry sometimes. Just let go. Woo! Let it flow, let it flow, let it flow. And I love how you can hear her sisters backing her up in the background. Just let it flow, baby. Just let go. Let it flow, let it flow, let it go. Just let it go, baby. All right. Oh yeah, I love sad song. Just another sad love song wrecking my brain like crazy. Yes, I'm all torn up, be it fast or slow. It doesn't let go or shaking. Oh, I love that song. And it's all because of you. Sorry. Oh, that was terrible. All right. That I do love that song. And then there was another song, Breathe. I got to breathe. I love that one. She did Breathe Again, and then she did, oh yeah, Unbreak My Heart. And then she did a song, I Got to Breathe. I love that song. Unbreak my heart, say you love me again. And then remember, she did that first song she had with Babyface, If I Could Give You My Heart. I love that song. Wasn't that in Boomerang? I love her voice. So bluesy. Honey, honey. Oh, remember 7 more days. Woo! I love 7 more days. And not a word from you. That's Sun opposition Saturn right there. 7 whole nights. And I'm just about through. Can't take it, won't take it, can't take it no more. I had about enough of you. I'd rather be on my own. Yes, on my own. That is Sun opposition Saturn. Because remember I said with Sun opposition Saturn, your man might be gone all the time. And she counting the days, she counting the time. Sun opposition Saturn. Honey, honey. Too crazy. You know what? I wonder if Elvis was part of her inspiration. Because she has that kind of cadence sometimes, like Elvis did. Like, don't step on my blue suede shoe. Even like the tone. I want for the money, I want for the show. She should have did a rendition of an Elvis song. Don't be cruel to a heart that's true. Don't be cruel. I don't be cruel, cause I would never be that way to you. I know I don't be cruel. Ooh, remember, I have to just talk about Bobby real quick. Just singing that song. I have to admit, Bobby surprised us all back then. Remember when he left New Edition? Because, you know, there was rumors that he was strung out on drugs and he was acting up, being rebellious like a typical Aquarius. And next thing you know, Bobby goes solo and he hits us with the Don't Be Cruel and the My Prerogative and the Tenderoni and the Every Little Step I Take. Like, he just like amazing. But that's what Aquarius is about. Aquarius will come out and shock you with some stuff. Like, I was floored when he came out. Like, he like revamped his image. Like, he was ugly in New Edition and he became cute as a solo artist. I was just like, wow. Now, knowing Bobby Brown, like, as a solo artist, I could kind of see how Whitney was, you know, into him. And remember in part 1, Whitney Houston, she had Sun opposition Saturn. So yeah. But yeah, Bobby came back like a monster with that first solo album. The second one, it was okay. I did like Humping Around, but that was pretty much it. I love Tenderoni. If you believe in love and know that it can do for you, give it a chance, girl. You'll find romance. You know, that Tenderoni song, it made you feel like, because I'm trying to think, how old was I when that song came out? Was I like 13, 14? So it felt like, you know, he was singing about me and other girls like my age. Tenderoni. The truth about Roni, she's a sweet little girl. Oh, yeah. I was like, hell yeah, I'm a tenderoni. All right, let's get into Toni. So Toni has Sun in Libra opposing Saturn and Aries. So this opposition is dealing with her being in the Braxtons. So, you know, she started off in a singing group with her sisters, and they were the Braxtons. And then they were shopping around their demo. They took it to LaFace Records. Was it LaFace Records? I believe so. And Babyface basically took a liking, or was it the other dude? Was it Terry Reid? Who knows? L.A. Reid, I mean, who knows? One of them. Basically, they saw that Toni stood out amongst the sisters. So this is basically representing Toni as part of the group versus her solo career. And especially because it was like she was being called for, she was forced into it. And she gladly accepted, and I'm glad she did. Now, speaking to Today in 2006, Toni opened up about balancing Libra, being a parent with her career and the challenges of being on the road. So you see the whole career thing with Sun opposition Saturn. Her children is the sun, Saturn is her career in this case. She said, it's been hard. I can't deny it, she said, adding, I'm a real hands-on mom, really involved with my kids and their day-to-day activities, which is very true. A lot of Libra mothers are very hands-on, and like a lot of them are like soccer moms, and like they, have their children in all these different activities and stuff. My son Denham, it was supposed to be spelled Denham, like Oldham. But when we were in the hospital in Atlanta, the nurse said, how's little baby Denham? So we had started spelling it like the gene. She's previously explained to OK magazine of her name choice. So that's dealing with Sun opposition Saturn, because Saturn's in Aries. Aries rules names. By the time Diesel was a year old, Toni had begun to notice that his development was behind. 2 years later, he was diagnosed with autism, and Toni experienced different emotions about it. So remember I said that Sun opposition Saturn could play out as a child with special needs. Hey, Indigo. Remember I said Sun opposition Saturn can play. Happy birthday. Oh my God, it's your birthday, ain't it? 18. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday. All right, 2 years later, he was diagnosed with autism, and Toni experienced different emotions about it. So that's Sun opposition Saturn, because remember I said Sun opposition Saturn can deal with a child with special needs. After his diagnosis, Toni became involved with the organization Autism Speaks in 2010. She and then 7-year-old Diesel even participated in a PSA together with WeTV. Over the years, she has credited the organization for its help. And then hey, did you do anything fun for your birthday? I hope somebody treated you well. How old are you, Indigo? If you don't want to share, I don't mind, but yes, Indigo's birthday. We don't buy no drinks at the bar. We pop champagne. Wait a minute, how's it go? Go Indigo, it's your birthday. And we don't buy no drinks at the bar. We pop champagne because we got that dough. Let me hear you say, ah. All right. Where am I at? It said, okay, so the fact that she has lupus and Sun opposition Saturn can deal with a disease that basically makes it hard to thrive, makes it hard to enjoy life, where it basically takes over your life, even if the disease goes into remission at times. So Toni was diagnosed with lupus in 2008 after collapsing 2 different times while performing. Remember I said Sun opposition Saturn could deal with falling? Toni Braxton is opening up about her decade-long journey to receive a lupus diagnosis. Dr. Wallace recalled that while Toni was performing in New York City in Beauty and the Beast on Broadway, she collapsed on stage and was taken to the hospital. There, doctors discovered fluid around her heart and a low white blood cell count, initially suspecting she had precancerous symptoms for 2 years. And the sun rules the heart. So when you have Sun, hey, sacred artist, when you have Sun opposition Saturn, you could be dealing with some heart issues. Saturn could be too taxing on the heart. Dr. Wallace recounted that Toni was performing in Las Vegas 3 to 4 years after her New York City collapse, when she fainted once more. Toni explained that between the 2 incidents, she had been feeling generally unwell and experiencing pain throughout her body. Saturn and Aries will bring the pain. Now, it took me 10 years to get a diagnosis. I felt like a hypochondriac. You see where she's counting the years? She said it took me 10 years. Again, with Saturn dealing with time, Sun opposition Saturn can deal with where you are at the mercy of time or where something is taking a long time. Like I'm just telling people I don't feel well and no one's listening. And lupus doesn't have a look to it. Not to say that other things do, but we always try to fake that we're feeling great or don't want to worry anyone. Libra is one of those signs too that really don't want to make it seem like they're okay. Now, doctors eventually confirmed that Toni had microvascular angina and a history of pericarditis, which are both heart conditions. In addition to the challenges of her lupus diagnosis, Toni spoke candidly about her experience with pregnancy while having the condition. She shared that she had 2 successful pregnancies, but had to terminate a third due to health complications. I remember the doctor saying, "Look at your levels there. You won't survive the pregnancy because of the lupus," Toni recalled. So her challenges with the pregnancy, her having to terminate that one pregnancy, that sun opposition Saturn as well. Remember, I said that could be challenges with pregnancy. All right, now I just wanted to throw this in here real quick because Toni Braxton has recently been in the news, not widely, but I saw a clip on a YouTube short where somebody was talking about how great Toni Braxton looked with this ensemble, and here are her 2 sons. This is the premiere of Bad Boys 4. So in the comment section, all right, let me tell you my initial reaction. So I was like, Toni, why you dressed like that with your 2 sons right there? Now, she looks fine with the suit, but she doesn't have a shirt on. So her boobs are basically out. Like, thank God her nipples are covered. But I'm like, that's not really appropriate dress for being out with your 2 sons. Me being a mom of a son, I just know my son wouldn't play that. My son would probably tell me to put a shirt on. He'd be like, "Mom, what are you doing? Put a shirt on. Like, why are you going out like that?" Now, in Toni's defense, I guess you could say because she's a celebrity and an entertainer and a performer, she feels like she should have license to come out looking like that. But in the comments section of that YouTube short, there was a lot of people, especially women, saying, "Toni, why you come out looking like this? Your sons are with you. This is inappropriate. You should have like a bralette or a cami underneath." Like, I think that would have looked better too if she would have had a bralette or a cami, a white tee, like how they're wearing. Something maybe with sequins to just add a little pizzazz, or just a different, like, create a little differentiation with the 2. But yeah, like, I was just like, a lot of people were basically criticizing Toni Braxton's choice of dress for this premiere with not wearing a shirt. And I agree, because again, even if you feel comfortable around your sons looking like this, a lot of times your sons aren't going to be comfortable seeing you out in public like that. So I had to go look at her chart to see what's going on, like, with her fashion choices, that she would feel comfortable, coming out like this with her sons. So she has Venus and Virgo conjoined to Jupiter in Leo. So Leo is the exhibitionist, right? But Leo also rules children. Now, with Jupiter and Leo, that could cause her to be a big time performer, but also quite the exhibitionist. And she has worn some very, revealing clothing over the years. So this isn't new for Toni, actually. So exhibitionist energy of Jupiter and Leo takes away from a sense of modesty and prudence that comes from Venus and Virgo. Because if she didn't have Jupiter conjoined to Venus and Virgo, she probably would have put a shirt underneath. But even more than that, she also has the moon in Sagittarius squaring her Venus. So that also makes her comfortable with coming out like that. More about that in a minute. So with this conjunction, this can cause her to dress inappropriately at times. Virgo is the sign of what is appropriate. And then when you have Jupiter and Leo like that, you could be a little too outlandish, a little too ostentatious, a little too free in terms of your exhibition. So this is also dealing with her being criticized on how she's dressed in front of her kids, because the Leo is representing her sons, and the criticism, like I said, it was mostly women in those comments criticizing what she had on. And then she has Moon in Sagittarius squaring Venus in Virgo. So this can represent immodesty, because Virgo is a sign of modesty. And then when you have this square with Sagittarius, that's like you letting it all hang out, or some of it hang out. So this is her letting the girls hang free. The moon is ruling breast. Sagittarius, that's the girls, her breasts being free and being criticized by other women for it. So the Venus in Virgo is representing the criticism she's getting from the other women. And that moon in Sagittarius, that's her breasts basically hanging free, free to breathe, free to wave in the wind and all that. Here's another image of her where her two sons when she was younger. Now, this outfit is not nearly as bad as the other one, but it's still kind of suggesting nudity, even though it's a sheer top this time around, and she does have this black, these black designs and stuff like that. But I don't even think I would feel comfortable being next to my son wearing something like this either. So yeah, I think Diesel is the one on the right, and then Denim is the one on the left, I believe, but I could be mistaken. And this must be an autism event, because I believe that puzzle piece does represent autism. Blazin said she's giving me cougar vibes. Yeah, it seems like she is trying to be a cougar. And it's working in her case, I guess. Well, yeah, she really wouldn't be a cougar with him, but she is older than dude. Press 1 when you can see the new picture. Not the one with her sons, but the next one. Because I really question Toni's judgment when she got with this dude. I was like, Toni, like, what are you doing? Like, why? But Toni has Mars in Sagittarius squaring Pluto and Virgo in her chart. So that can deal with where she could attract men of a questionable nature. She could be attracted to men that are kind of on the dark side, and men that are ugly. Thank you, Jupiter going wild. But that Mars in Sagittarius, that's her liking Birdman, because he's from Louisiana and he has that thick country accent, that thick New Orleans accent, Wody and all that type of stuff. She get off on that shit with that Mars in Sagittarius. But she better be careful dealing with Birdman. I don't know if she's still dealing with him, but I'm going to tell you what it's all about. So Toni, again, she got Sun opposition Saturn. And here come Birdman, and he got Venus in Aries conjoined to her Saturn. That right there, that's sugar daddy energy. Yeah, Birdman was born in 69. She was born in 67. So she's 2 years older than him. But that's still sugar daddy aspects. So basically, he's her sugar daddy. He's her benefactor. He buys her anything she wants, and he basically is probably paying all her bills. And we know Toni got into trouble with money back in the day. She had to file for bankruptcy. She went on Oprah. Oprah basically humiliated her. She can't stand Oprah to this day over that. Birdman could very well be her handler. Yes. But I feel like that's one of the same. Sugar daddy, handler. Like, if we're talking about the entertainment industry. And with Sun opposition Saturn, like I said, that could be where you're under a man's control. But like I said, she's okay with it because his Venus comes into play with that Sun opposition Saturn in her chart, because his Venus is conjoined to her Saturn. So it's like he buying her what she wants, paying her bills and stuff. And I guess it's fine with her. But his Pluto is squaring her Mars. So she got Mars square Pluto in her natal chart, and in their synastry, because they're only 2 years apart, so it would make sense that his Pluto is squaring her Mars. That's a nasty aspect that could deal with where he might put his hands on her at some point. Like, he might really do some nasty shit to her, or he might just discard her at some point. But if Toni end up missing, I'm looking at Birdman. That's all I'm saying. Or she ends up dying some mysterious death, I'm looking at Birdman. So Toni better be careful. All right, next. Y'all let me know when you can see the next picture. Press 1. Oprah's still way into the closet. She still hasn't come out that closet. And you see how Oprah arranged it so Gail could get on the cover of Sports Illustrated? And you know, Birdman has done some questionable shit back in the day. I remember there was a picture of Birdman with some young Asian boy. He looked underage, and they were like in a locker room, and the boy had his shirt off, and I think he just had a towel around his waist. It was very shady and very sus. Did y'all ever see that picture? Blazer said he looks like me in the morning. I could kind of relate to that look too. So yes, we have Mr. Jimi Hendrix, Sagittarius. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. One of the greatest that ever did it. You know, two of the greatest guitar players, Prince and Jimi Hendrix, both got Sun opposition Saturn. And it's in reverse. Jimi Hendrix had Sun in Sagittarius opposing Saturn in Gemini, and Prince had Sun in Gemini opposing Saturn in Sagittarius. And Jimmy was a major influence upon Prince. All right, so let's get into Jimi Hendrix. Sun in Sagittarius opposing Saturn in Gemini. His relationship with his brother Leon was close but precarious. With Leon in and out of foster care, they lived with an almost constant threat of fraternal separation. That's the epitome of this opposition right here, with Gemini representing his brother, and then the Sagittarius representing the foster care. That's his brother being in and out of foster care, but also that threat of separation. Now, in addition to Leon, Hendrix had 3 younger siblings: Joseph, born in 1949, Kathy in 1950, and Pamela in 1951, all of whom Al and Lucille gave up to foster care and adoption. So that foster care adoption, big theme in his life, because his parents gave his siblings away. That's crazy. But these parents back in the day, I've noticed, like, if we're talking about, you know how they talk about the good old days, like the 50s, 40s, but especially like going back like 50s, 40s, 30s, and going all the way back, there was so many stories about the parents sending the kids off to go live with Uncle James and Aunt Louie or Aunt Lois or whatever, and separating the children and them going here and stuff. So again, the foster care adoption, that's Sagittarius. Gemini is his siblings. I just found that to be very interesting. At Horace Mann Elementary School in Seattle during the mid-1950s, Hendrix's habit of carrying a broom with him to emulate a guitar gained the attention of the school's social worker. That's very Sun in Sagittarius opposing Saturn and Gemini. Gemini is the school, but also that can represent him bringing this object to school. I'm trying to remember. Damn, I wish I could remember what the house places was. But Sagittarius is the social worker. The Sagittarius rules social work. So basically, this is him being, so basically the social worker is intervening. So it says, after more than a year of his clinging to a broom like a security blanket, she wrote a letter requesting school funding intended for unprivileged children, insisting that leaving him without a guitar might result in psychological damage. Her efforts failed, and Al refused to buy him a guitar. So basically, she's trying to appeal to Al, his father, to buy him a guitar. So in this case, the father is represented by Saturn and Gemini, and the social worker is the Sun in Sagittarius. Keep in mind that, again, with astrology, things are interchangeable, or you have to basically switch roles sometimes to understand how the aspects are playing out on multiple levels. Now, he arrived on November 8th, and soon afterward, he wrote to his father, "There's nothing but physical training and harassment here for 2 weeks." This is when he was in the military. "Then when you go to jump school, you get hell. They work you to death, fussing and fighting." In his next letter home, Hendrix, who had left his guitar in Seattle at the home of his girlfriend, Betty Jean Morgan, asked his father to send it to him as soon as possible, stating, "I really need it now." His father obliged and sent the red silver tone Danelectro on which Hendrix had hand-painted the words Betty Jean to Fort Campbell. So him corresponding with his father at a long distance, that is Sun in Sagittarius opposing Saturn and Gemini. And also him sending him the guitar. In 1989, Noah Goldwasser, the founding editor of Guitar World, described Are You Experienced as the album that shook the world, leaving it forever changed. In 2005, Rolling Stone called the double platinum LP Hendrix epochal debut, and they ranked it the 15th greatest album of all time. Him talking about Are You Experienced? That's very Sun opposition Saturn, with Saturn representing experience. In 2005, I already read that part. Let me see. Noting his exploitation of amp Hal and characterizing his guitar playing as incendiary, historic in and of itself, or in itself. So talking about historic, very Saturn influence. Now, Hendrix was passing through customs at Toronto International Airport on May 3rd, 1969, when authorities found a small amount of heroin and hashish in his luggage and charged him with drug possession. He was released on $10,000 bail and was required to return on May 5th for an arraignment hearing. Now, Abu, remember you asked me about, your Sun in Sagittarius opposing Saturn and Gemini. One of the things I mentioned was if you travel long distances, travel outside the country, you could get stopped by customs or TSA or whatever. And you see, Jimi Hendrix has that same opposition you have, and he was pulled out of line by customs. The incident proved stressful for Hendrix, and it weighed heavily on his mind during the 7 months leading up to his December 1969 trial. For the Crown to prove possession, they had to show that Hendrix knew that the drugs were there. During the jury trial, he testified that a fan had given him a vial of what he thought was legal medication, which he put in his bag. He was acquitted of the charges. Mitchell and Redding later revealed that everyone had been warned about a planned drug bust the day before flying to Toronto. Both men also stated that they believed the drugs had been planted in Hendrix's bag without his knowledge. All right. And then, there was the situation where he died, and there was a lot of, mystery surrounding that. Basically, he was spending the night with this chick. And basically, they're saying he overdosed on a mixture of like barbiturates and other drugs and stuff. But I wouldn't be surprised if she was sent to drug him, because I believe he was another murderer as well. All right. Next, let me know when you can see the next image. Press 1. And Nicki Minaj just recently got caught out there for having marijuana on her when she traveled to, where was she? Was it France, Germany? One of them European nations. It was Amsterdam, I think. Okay, you can see it. Okay, who do we have here? Does anybody recognize this woman? Love and marriage, love and marriage. Hey, Kauai, go together like a horse and carriage. That used to be my show. No, you didn't say Ozempic face. That was my show for real. No, I don't think that's Ozempic face. She has multiple sclerosis. So that could be why she looks like that. So I love Kelly Bundy. She was so funny on Married with Children. So Christina Applegate, she has Sun in Sagittarius opposing Saturn and Gemini. So part of this is dealing with her having to dumb herself down for the Kelly Bundy role. And that could have been a challenge for her at times, but she really did play the airhead, like the groupie type airhead, hot type of chick. She played that to the hilt. Now, recorded shortly after making a surprise appearance on the 2024 Emmy Awards, which earned her an uproarious standing ovation, the actress revealed that she was in a depression that she hadn't felt for years, leaving her in a very dark mental state. That's very much that opposition. Her mental health was so bad at the time, she admitted that it was even scaring her because it really felt fatalistic. That is the epitome of Sun opposition Saturn, that whole fatalistic mindset. I'm trapped in like this darkness right now that I haven't felt in like, I don't even know how long, probably 20 something years, she admitted, adding that as a result of her battle with multiple sclerosis, she hasn't been enjoying living. So, multiple sclerosis is one of those diseases that can be represented by Sun opposition Saturn, because, like I said, that can deal with diseases that are very debilitating and that basically make it hard to thrive, make it hard to enjoy life. So you see how she said she hasn't been enjoying living. That's the epitome of Sun opposition Saturn. I don't enjoy things anymore, she added, preferring to spend her time lying in bed. And I talk about, like, when I talk about the sun in my astrology course with my students, I talk about the sun being that life force. And if the sun is afflicted by, say, Saturn or Pluto, you could be in that state where you can't even get out of bed in the morning. All right. Let me know when you can see the next image. I'm so sick of talking about this man. Old rubberneck. I thought I told you that we won't stop. Can't stop, won't stop. Take that, take that. All right, y'all see him. Now, should we be surprised that he has Sun opposition Saturn? And he got some other nasty aspects too. Well, you know, Sun opposition Saturn isn't totally nasty, but in his case, it is. You said weak chin punk? Awkward letter, right? For real. All right, P. Diddy. So he has Sun in Scorpio, opposition Saturn in Taurus. So basically, we're just going to run down the list of the current lawsuits that he has open. I think all of these are current. And I'm going to go to a website where I'm just going to read some of the details. But basically, this just shows that it's always dealing with some issue with money or also criminal charges. And that Saturn and Taurus can represent the evidence that people have against him that could convict him. This can represent his conviction, where at some point he will be convicted of a crime because there'll be sufficient evidence. That whole sufficient evidence is very Saturn and Taurus, opposing that Sun in Scorpio. So Rodney Jones versus Sean Combs, Jane Doe versus Sean Combs. So some of these people haven't even been identified. Cassandra Cassie Ventura, you know, that's the most popular one case that he had. Of course, that one's already been settled, but they might reopen a case involving her for, you know, criminal charges. Liza or Lisa Gardner versus Sean Combs. Joie Dickerson, Neil versus Sean Combs. And this opposition could just have him on the hook for a lot of money through lawsuits. Crystal McKinney versus Sean Combs. April Lampros versus Sean Combs. So let me go to this website real quick, and I'm going to read some of the details of these lawsuits. So this is vulture.com. Let me share my screen. Hold on. Hey, where did it go? Okay. All right. This is from vulture.com. It says a guide to the many lawsuits against Diddy. Self-proclaimed bad boy for life, Sean Diddy Combs is facing serious legal issues following numerous allegations of sexual assault, harassment, and sex trafficking throughout his career. On March 25th, simultaneous bi-coastal raids of his Los Angeles and Miami homes played out live on CNN. The raids are dealing with this opposition as well, because remember I said you could be facing off with the police when you have Sun opposition Saturn. While the hip-hop mogul was on his private jet amid what could turn out to be a very public reckoning. That's very Sun opposition Saturn, a public reckoning. In addition to an investigation, him being under investigation, that's Sun opposition Saturn, from Homeland Security and the federal government, that whole Homeland Security, that's Saturn and Taurus, with Taurus ruling security. And the federal government, remember I said you dealing with issues with the government, Sun opposition Saturn. He is also facing 4 federal lawsuits. A 5th brought in late 2023 by his ex-girlfriend Cassandra Cassie Ventura, which included allegations of rape and physical abuse, was settled and dismissed days after it had been filed. Now remember, I said Sun opposition Saturn can deal with where you're following in your father's footsteps, and or your father has a major impact upon your life. And P. Diddy's father was a gangster, from what is said. So in this case, the fruit don't fall too far from the tree. Now, a 5th brought in late 2023 by his ex-girlfriend Cassandra Cassie Ventura, which included allegations of rape and physical abuse, was settled and dismissed days after it had been filed. Below the biggest lawsuits involving Combs, including the 8th and the latest. Now, remember I said Sun opposition Saturn can also deal with where you're under a time crunch, where time is of the essence. So like where it says right here, that lawsuit with Cassie was settled days within it being filed, because with that particular lawsuit, he was really under a time crunch because of all the evidence Cassie had against him, because she was one of the closest people to him when they were together. So case number 1, Rodney Jones versus Sean Combs. What does the lawsuit say? Rodney Little Rod Jones Jr., a record producer from Chicago, filed a 105-page federal complaint against Combs, accusing him and the people who work with him of being part of an illegal racketeering enterprise, which is very Sun opposition Saturn. Remember John Gotti had this same opposition? And I was talking about being the organizer. When you had that Sun opposition Saturn, I was like, that was John Gotti. P. Diddy got the same opposition, dealing with the same sign, Scorpio, opposition Taurus. So it says, filed a 105 federal complaint against Combs, accusing him and the people who work with him of being part of an illegal racketeering enterprise. Jones alleges in his complaint that he has irrefutable evidence of the acquisition, use, and distribution of ecstasy, cocaine, GHB, ketamine, marijuana, and mushrooms. B, the displaying and distribution of unregistered illegal firearms. And C, the solicitation of minors and sex workers. According to Jones, as he alleges in the complaint, Combs reached out to Jones in 2022 to help him produce songs, but Jones claims the work Combs required of him went far beyond producing music. He claims in the lawsuit that he was tasked with procuring drugs and soliciting sex workers to perform sex acts to the pleasure of Mr. Combs. Jones alleges that Combs also required him to take these sex acts, and that Combs would often threaten to inflict bodily harm on him if he did not comply with his demands. Jones alleged in his complaint that Combs kept specific bottles of alcohol designated for females on hand, and according to Mr. Jones, Mr. Combs forced all the women to drink Lace de Leon liquor. Upon information and belief, Mr. Combs laced the liquor with ecstasy, the lawsuit claims. He also accuses Combs, and lacing a drink can be that Sun opposition Saturn too. He accuses Combs of sexual harassment and assault for allegedly grabbing him without his consent and forcing him to work with Combs paraded around naked. Jones also alleges that Combs once left him alone in a makeshift studio on a yacht with Cuba Gooding Jr. Cuba Gooding, he's a real pervert too, who he said then began touching, groping, and fondling his upper thighs near his groin. He said Gooding did not stop until he forcibly pushed him away. So let me see. What was Combs' response? When reached out for comment, Combs' attorney, Sean Hawley, provided a near identical statement he provided to the New York Times on February 26, 2024. He said, Mr. Jones is nothing more than a con man, shamelessly looking for an easy and wholly undeserved payday, it said. We have indisputable, incontrovertible proof that his claims are complete fabrication. Our attempt to share this proof with Mr. Jones' attorney, Tyrone Blackburn, have been ignored. And let's just read one of the lawsuits involving a woman. Well, let's read two of them. Jane Doe versus Sean Combs. What does the lawsuit say? Doe alleges that she was gang raped and sex trafficked by Combs and former president of Bad Boy Records, Harvey Pierre, when she was only 17 and in the 11th grade. She alleges she met Pierre in a lounge in Detroit and he told her he was best friends with Combs. Doe claims Combs convinced her to accompany Pierre and a third assailant on a private jet to come to his studio in New York City. She claims she agreed and boarded a jet that flew to Teterboro, New Jersey, and was taken to Combs' studio. She alleges that once there, Combs and his associates, including Pierre, plied her with drugs and alcohol, and alleges she was subsequently gang raped at the studio by Combs, Pierre, and a third assailant. Her complaint states that while Mr. Combs was raping Miss Doe, he complained that he could not get off unless she pinched his nipples as hard as she could. Wow. And that Combs then allegedly watched as the third assailant raped her while she told him to stop. You know what? That's what I call details. Her talking about he wanted her to squeeze his nipples as hard as she could. Like, I don't think somebody would make something like that up. You know what I mean? Wow. That he could not get off unless she pinched his nipples as hard as she could. Oh man, this is going to be so good for one of your aspects, Kawaii, that you have a sponsored video on. Wait till oh, this is good. Okay. More about that in a minute. Interesting. Okay. And that Combs then allegedly watched as the third assailant raped her while she told him to stop. After third assailant was finished, Mr. Pierre took his turn at raping Miss Doe and then violently forced her to give him oral sex, during which Miss Doe was choking and struggling to breathe, according to the complaint. Wow. Here was his response. Combs posted a statement on December 6, 2023, addressing the lawsuit. Enough is enough. For the last couple of weeks, I have sat silently and watched people try to assassinate my character, destroy my reputation and my legacy, he said. Sickening allegations have been made against me by individuals looking for a quick payday. Let me be absolutely clear. I did not do any of the awful things being alleged. I will fight for my name, my family, and for the truth. Pierre also released a statement vehemently denying the accusation. This is a tale of fiction, he said. I have never participated in, witnessed, or heard anything like this ever. These disgusting allegations are false and a desperate attempt for financial gain. I will vigorously protect my reputation and defend my name. Those who know me recognize these claims are not true. All right, and then let's talk about the one with Liza Gardner versus Sean Combs. Gardner filed a 22-page lawsuit accusing Combs and Aaron Hall of forcing her to have sex with the Aaron Hall is another pervert, wannabe pimp. Hey, Sarah. want to be pimp, like sick, disgusting dude. And Aaron Hall, he was a singer in the group Guy back in the 80s, and then he went solo. But Aaron Hall has basically claimed that most of the people in the music industry have seen, most of the dudes in the industry have seen him have sex in public, like out in the open. He's a weird, sick dude. So I wouldn't be surprised that they were hanging out together. So Garner claims she met Combs and Hall in New York at an event for the album release for Jodeci. After a dinner for the event, Combs allegedly invited Gardner and her friend to Hall's apartment for an after party. She alleged it was there that Combs coerced her into having sex with him while she was getting dressed. After that, Hall barged into the room, pinned her down, and allegedly forced her to have sex with him. Gardner claims that she had immense pain vaginally afterward. She said she fled the apartment and later learned that her friend also allegedly had sex with both Combs and Hall. The day after the assault, Gardner alleged that Combs came to her home and began assaulting and choking her to the point that she passed out. Gardner's complaint states that since being violently and statutorily raped by Combs and Aaron Hall, Miss Gardner's life has been overwhelmed by depression, post-traumatic stress disorder, and strained relationship with men, and has asked the court for a jury trial. And Combs' response was, Combs' representative issued a statement after the lawsuit was originally filed, claiming the claims fabricated and bogus, and the case a money grab. Vulture reached out for Hall for comment, but did not hear back. The fact that he has Sun opposition Saturn, Sun and Scorpio opposition Saturn and Taurus, that's why he keeps on saying, oh, it's just a money grab. It's just a money grab. Well, we all know the truth. All right, moving along. Okay. I went. Okay, next. Let me know when you can see the next image. I love the song that her and her brother sang. We've only just begun. Now that song I can't listen to all the time because that song makes me want to break down in tears. We've only just begun to live. She has such a beautiful voice. White lace and promises. She was like an alto, or maybe like a what would you call them? Why can't I a contralto? I think she was a contralto. Her voice was pretty deep, but it was beautiful. We've only begun. You said turn the screen off. Why? Her story is so sad, man. But yeah, does anybody? Oh, Jupiter, you already mentioned it. Karen Carpenter. Yep. Karen Carpenter. She was one of the members of the Carpenters. The Carpenters were comprised of her and her brother, and she died a tragic death of complications brought about through anorexia. As you can see in this image here, you could tell by her face that she was very thin at this stage in her life, and then she got even thinner. So Karen Carpenter, Sun in Pisces opposing Saturn in Virgo. It says in 1975, she started exhibiting symptoms of anorexia nervosa due to the severe pressures of fame. And this started with her seeing a photo of herself. So that photo is represented by the Sun in Pisces and that Saturn in Virgo. That's her trying to lose weight as a result, going on diets and all types of stuff. She was plagued by the disease for years. She died in 1983 at the age of 32 of heart failure. Remember, heart, that's the Sun, failure, Saturn, of heart failure due to complications from anorexia, which was little known outside celebrity circles at the time. And her death triggered widespread attention and research into the eating disorders and body dysmorphia. Now, remember, When we talked about Forrest Whitaker has Sun opposition Saturn, and his wife died of anorexia. And then here's Karen Carpenter. She has Sun opposition Saturn, and she died of anorexia. And Saturn, again, can result in being very thin. It can basically take a lot of weight off of you. It can deal with starvation as well. She joined the school marching band initially to avoid exercising for gym classes. So her joining the marching band is Sun in Pisces, as opposed to her taking gym classes, which is Saturn in Virgo. She was talented, rehearsed every day. Within a year, she could play in complex time signatures, such as the 5/4 in Dave Brubeck's Take 5. So her basically rehearsing every day, like taking this real seriously, music, singing, all of that. That's very Sun opposition Saturn. Her spending time alone, practicing, rehearsing, all of that. And where she could play these complex time, keyword time signatures, time being Saturn. Carpenter was initially nervous about performing in public, but she said she was too involved in the music to worry about it. That's very Sun opposition Saturn. So you see how Sun in Pisces, that's her being involved in the music. And that helped her to basically just overlook the fact that she was nervous. She initially struggled in live performances, singing solo, as she felt more secure behind the drum kit. So she really wasn't wanting to be on center stage, which is very Pisces. And then, she's feeling secure behind the drum kit, very Sun opposition Saturn, because that Sun in Pisces is very much dealing with her basically playing music. And then the Virgo is dealing with her actually being able to be behind the scenes, but you're still an integral piece of the band. Now, in early interviews, Carpenter showed no interest in marriage or dating, believing that a relationship would not survive constant touring, adding, "As long as we're on the road most of the time, I will never marry." Carpenter admitted to Newton John that she longed for a happy marriage and family. So on one hand, she's saying she'll never marry because her career is coming first and her having to travel and tour and all that, Sun opposition Saturn. But then later she's saying she longed for a happy marriage. To long for something, that's very Pisces. And her being, feeling like maybe time is running out as well, Sun opposition Saturn. Carpenter wanted children, but Burris, who she ended up marrying, had undergone a vasectomy. Isn't that crazy? Catch-22 situations. You want to have children, but you can't because your husband done had a vasectomy. Now, you can get a vasectomy reversed, but that could have also showed that, and it says here, he refused to reverse the vasectomy. Very Sun opposition Saturn. So basically showing she was denied children. The marriage did not survive this disagreement and ended after 14 months. Burris was living beyond his means, borrowing as much as $50,000, which is equivalent to $167,000 in 2023. So again, Burris was her husband. At a time from Carpenter until she was left with only stocks and bonds. Carpenter's friends also indicated that Burris was impatient. According to Carpenter's friend Karen Kamen, the marriage was the straw that broke the camel's back. It was absolutely the worst thing that could have happened to her. So her basically having to help out her husband, who's just being irresponsible, that's Sun in Pisces opposing Saturn in Virgo. Carpenter began dieting while in high school. Under a doctor's guidance, she began the Stillman diet, eating lean foods, drinking 8 glasses of water a day, and avoiding fatty foods. She reduced her weight to 120 pounds and stayed approximately at the weight until around 1973, when the Carpenter's career reached its peak. So she already had a problem with eating. And then what sent her over the edge was right here. It says that year she saw a concert photo of herself and felt that her clothing made her appear heavy. She hired a personal trainer who advised her to change her diet. The new diet built muscle, which made her feel heavier instead of slimmer. Carpenter fired the trainer and began her own weight loss program, using exercise equipment and counting calories. She lost about 20 pounds and intended to lose another 5 pounds. Her eating habits also changed around this time. She would try to remove food from her plate by offering taste to others with whom she was dining. So yeah, her being on these diets, very sun opposition Saturn with Saturn in Virgo, that's representing not just a diet, but a strict diet. And then again, then she starts to go to the extreme by just starving herself. She was hoping to find a quick solution to her problem as she had performing and recording obligations, but the doctor told her that treatment could last from 1 to 3 years. She then chose to be treated in New York City by psychotherapist Stephen Levenkron. So she basically tried to take a shortcut, which is so Sun in Pisces. By late 1981, Carpenter was taking thyroid replacement medication, which she obtained using the name of Karen Burris, to increase her metabolism. She used the medication in conjunction with increased consumption, as many as 90 tablets per night of the laxatives upon which she had long relied, which caused food to pass quickly through her digestive tract. Despite Levenkron's treatment, including confiscation of medications that Carpenter had misused, her condition continued to deteriorate, and she lost more weight. She told Levenkron that she felt dizzy and that her heart was beating irregularly. So her feeling dizzy is very much Sun in Pisces, and her taking all these laxatives and stuff, very Saturn in Virgo. Very sad story. All right. Next story. Let me know when you could see the image. Press 1. That face is scary, man. It's like her face is not even attached to her skull. It's just like a mask, like one of those latex masks. All right, who are we looking at here? Sarah said, yeah, my asshole Libra ex got a vasectomy after 7 years counseling. I divorced that bitch. Well, yeah. Because if you want children, you're going to have to do what you got to do. All right, who are we looking at here? Anybody know who this is? Yes, goblin is a good word. God, you see what I mean? Like, she looked like she's wearing a latex mask. Like, if you look at her eyes are so sunken in that they don't even seem like they're part of her, like they're attached to her skin or face. Weird. And she didn't always look like that. She didn't always look ugly like that. She started off kind of nice looking. So I guess this is plastic surgery and years of hard living. Yes, Donatella Versace. Somebody said Caitlyn. Blazing Caitlyn, you know good and well there ain't no Caitlyn Jenner. Even Caitlyn Jenner looked better than her. All right, so let's get into Donatella Versace. Versace. Or like the girl said in Showgirls, Versace. Now, Sun in Taurus opposition Saturn in Scorpio. She fought a cocaine addiction for 18 years until 2005. So that cocaine, I guess, really made her look bad. A heavy smoker, the smoking too. She quit in 2014. So yeah, she did live a hard life. That hard living like aged her before her time. And actually, when you look at this opposition, this is like Saturn and Scorpio is snatching her beauty. Like any beauty she had, Saturn and Scorpio came for it. Now, Gianni, her brother, her brother was Gianni Versace, famous designer. Gianni was murdered on July 15, 1997, outside the reconstructed Casa Casarina, also known as Versace's mansion in Miami, Florida. In the aftermath of the highly publicized crime and manhunt, most of the Versace family, including Donatella, moved temporarily to a secluded private resort in the Caribbean. So going to a secluded place, very much Sun in Taurus, opposing Saturn and Scorpio. And then she ended up, her and her company, Versace, ended up suing Fashion Nova because Fashion Nova was creating a lot of clothes that were knockoffs of Versace. And I think that lawsuit still might be in the works. I don't even think it was settled yet. But anybody a Fashion Nova girl or boy? I've been on the Fashion Nova site, but and this is my South Node in Taurus all day. I'm like, I don't know. I be trying to play it safe too much with these stores. And because I'm from the old school, a lot of these stores that are newer, like these where they're totally like online, like Fashion Nova, what's the other one? Shein, Temu. I be really cautious about those sites. So I haven't bought it from Fashion Nova before, even though my daughter was like, oh, because I was looking for some jumpers to wear, jumpers, pantsuits, and they're hard to find. It's not easy to find nice jumpers, nice pantsuits and stuff. So I was asking my daughter, like, can she recommend any stores? And she was like, girl, go on Fashion Nova. And I went on there, and I ain't gonna lie, they got some cute stuff. Even she ain't got a lot of cute stuff. But I be wondering about the quality. Like, is the quality really there? And then I be wondering, like, are they using this stuff with toxic materials? Because you don't get something for nothing. You know what I mean? So they be selling these clothes for real cheap, which is why I be looking with the side eye, like, I don't know. Like, if I want discount clothes, I'd rather go to Marshall's, TJ Maxx, Ross. Because if you go on a good day, you can really get some good deals. And they all got online stores now. Ross, TJ Maxx, Marshalls. Sometimes I'll go on, go to Macy's online and stuff like that. But I don't know. I don't think I could do like the Fashion Nova and Shein and all that. I'd be scared. Love says same. It's a gamble with the sizes and quality. Yeah, and I don't want to take that gamble. First of all, I hate shopping for clothes, period. Not even shopping for clothes because I love clothes. I hate the whole sizing thing, like you mentioned, because, it depends. Sometimes something's too big, it's too small, it's just not fit right. It don't fit right. And it's just a mess. But yeah, so that was enough. I just wanted to touch on Donatella Versace real quick. Next we have this piece of shit. Let me know when you can see this person's picture. Nacho Lover said, love Shein, but I feel like they are the same Shein, Temu, and Fashion Nova. Yeah. Now, my daughter has bought me some stuff from Shein, and actually, it wasn't bad quality at all. So, I guess some of their stuff is nice. Self-Made said they charge more for bigger people. I don't know if that's fair. I see where they would ration out. They'd be like, well, we got to use more material, so it costs more. Pisces Moon said, I only get certain things from Fashion Nova. I like their jeans. Yup, the walking HIV monster, crackhead Sheen. You know what? He comes up a lot too when it comes to these aspects that I be talking about. And I'm kind of sick of seeing his face, and I'm kind of sick of talking about him. So I'm going to go through this kind of fast. Sun in Virgo opposing Saturn and Pisces. So remember, I talked about Sun opposition Saturn, father being very impactful, also following in the father's footsteps. That definitely applies to Charlie Sheen because his father is Martin Sheen, who is an actor. And what I find to be interesting is Martin Sheen, he starred in Apocalypse Now, which is a movie about the Vietnam War. And then later, Charlie Sheen starred in Platoon, which was a movie about the Vietnam War. I like both movies, but I like Platoon better. Now, Sheen's first movie appearance was at the age 9 in his father's 1974 film, The Execution of Private Slovik. So, him basically, you might as well say his father was his mentor, and basically he's working with his father in that movie of his. On May 30th, 2008, Sheen married his third wife, Brooke Mueller. Mueller gave birth to their twin sons, Bob and Max, on March 14th, 2009. In November 2010, Sheen filed for divorce. On March 1st, 2011, police removed the couple's sons from Sheen's home. So remember I said encounters with the police, standoffs with the police. Sheen told NBC's Today, I stayed very calm and focused. According to People, social services took the children after Mueller obtained a restraining order against Sheen. And when you have the sun in Virgo opposing Saturn and Pisces, that can be where there's a case of neglect and where the children's well-being is in jeopardy. Sheen was found in his seaside home by a friend, after which paramedics rushed him to a Los Robles hospital and medical center in Thousand Oaks, California, where he was described as being in serious condition after his stomach was pumped. So him having the overdose and having to go to rehab is very much, well, first this is the hospital, but that's very Sun opposition Saturn. Days later, especially the fact that he had to get his stomach pumped, that would be that Sun in Virgo opposition Saturn and Pisces. Days later, she checked into a rehab clinic. So the rehab is also dealing with Sun opposition Saturn. Then told doctors that he did not intend to stay. Sheen left, but sheriff deputies forced Sheen back to the clinic. So again, he's having another encounter with the police. On August 11th, 1998, Sheen, already on probation in California for a previous drug offense, had his probation extended by 1 year and entered a rehab clinic. All right, enough about Charlie Sheen. I'm glad that was quick because, again, he gets on my nerves. Let me know when you can see the next picture. Now, she's been recently in the news. So when I was preparing for this video, I got excited when I saw that this was a recent news report and it deals with her Sun opposition Saturn. Jupiter said, Charlie looked like he will knock the shit out of you if you take his drug. He does. He looks very unhinged. All right, so you can see it. Yes, Gina. So who are we looking at? Yes, blazing Tisha Campbell. So, Tisha Campbell, she's been through a lot, especially, with that marriage with Dwayne Martin. And, she's dealing with some health problems too. So Tisha Campbell has Sun in Libra opposing Saturn and Aries. So she got the same hookup as Toni Braxton. Tisha Campbell opened up about how her health has improved since leaving behind her marriage and the stress that came with it. That's the epitome of that Sun opposition Saturn, because that's like her husband, Dwayne, it was all about him. And she was playing a supportive role, you could say. And I'm sure she was stressed, lonely, because he's always out with Will. They bumping booties or whatever the hell they got going on. And she just like, damn, I didn't know it was going to be like this. So once she got a divorce, she's saying, and keep in mind she's a Libra and Libra rules marriage. Once she got a divorce, her health started to improve. So it says the doctor said you have 4 stages. We can't let it get worse, she said. So I was on steroids for a long time, and you know how steroids do. They bloat you. They make you very, very sick in other ways with your insulin and all kinds of stuff. So I was pre-diabetic. Diabetes is a Libra disease because Libra rules the kidneys. And it was just getting worse. Everything helped, but I believe, I'm sorry, I have to tell the truth. I have been in remission for 4 years now. They can't find it at the base of my brain at all. I haven't gotten sick, not one time, she said. I was so scared to get COVID because I thought if I get COVID, I'm going to die. Every cold took me to the hospital, every sniffle, allergies. It would just build up and I would get sick. But I have not been sick since I got a divorce. So Sun in Libra, that's her being married, versus Saturn in Aries, that's the single life. And she's doing much better being single. I had a feeling this one was next. Y'all let me know when y'all can see the next image. You say you have ridiculous. Oh, you love ridiculous earrings. Yeah, I feel like Dwayne did a job on her too, Blazing. All right, who are we looking at? Who's this? Danny Tanner. Yes, self-made Bob Saget. Now, I learned about how Bob really was. You know, he's dead now. I learned about how Bob really was through some videos. I think it was on this channel called Pockets of the Future. And this guy, he does a lot of like conspiracy topics and stuff like that. And he did an expose on Bob Saget. And he did this years ago, probably like maybe like 7 years ago. He did an expose on Bob Saget, well before Bob died. And it was eye opening, let me tell you. And basically, he was saying that there's so many signs and evidence that Bob Saget is a pervert, and where he could be, not saying he definitely was, but he could have been a violator of children. That's the best way I'll say it, because I don't want to say that P word. So I also learned that Bob Saget, you know, he's a comedian. He's a comedian first, and then he was you know, he had the sitcom Full House. But his comic material is some of the dirtiest. It's some of the most despicable and disgusting you've ever heard. And this man was also on a family show where he was the father of these girls. So let's get into this situation. So Bob Saget has Sun in Taurus, conjoined to the fixed star Algol, and Algol is known as the demon star, the evil one, opposing Saturn and Scorpio, and Saturn is at the 29th degree of Scorpio. So we're dealing with like a concentration of Scorpio energy. Now, I had to go on Reddit to find this story about something that he did when he was on the set of Full House. And this is one of the stories I learned through watching that channel, Pockets of the Future. Oh, James. Okay, so you used to watch Pockets too. Okay, good. Okay, yes. So you remember what the story. So it said from Reddit, one person commented, Bob Saget was humping a replica balloon of the Olsen twins in a room where he knew there were cameras and the kids could see him. He admitted it himself because he thought it was funny. All his jokes were pretty much himself telling on himself. Glad he's dead. So again, this is somebody on Reddit commenting about Bob Saget. Let's also not forget how Dave Coulier will often take baths with the Olsen twins too. Now, just to summarize, basically, Bob Saget was seen on camera humping a doll, and he was trying to act like it was one of the Olsen twins, simulating sex acts with a doll, and the Olsen twins saw him on camera. And there was people in the studio that told Bob, they were like, you know, the girls can see you. And he told them, well, tell them to turn the TV off. That was his response. Now, I'm going to play this clip, and I don't know if I could play the whole thing, but I'm going to try to get through the whole thing. But this is from a documentary about comedians called The Aristocrats. And it's basically called The Dirtiest Joke in the World. And when you listen to this joke, basically it's going to give you a bird's eye view into the mind of Bob Saget and how filthy he is. So if you're not the type that likes to hear like hardcore pornography type of talk, then you might want to leave the room right now, or just, you know, turn the volume down until this video is over. And I know I will be demonetized for playing this video. So thankfully, Abu sponsored this video. So, you know, it's all good. All right, so here we go. Let me hit play.
Kind of like Cirque du Soleil, more like Jerk du Soleil, because that's what they're going to do to each other. They walk into this guy's office, and the agent goes, "Well, what do you people do?" And the father's like, "Watch us." The father's like ripping off his kid's clothes, and he takes his wife's bra and he throws it off of her, and he rips off her underwear, and he takes some of her pubes with it. It's horrible, and there's a little bit of blood starts dripping down her leg, and they're all like, there's women and children are walking up here right now. So the father's like totally undressing his whole family, and then he gets out an epaulette and he starts shaving his wife's back. His daughter's got like a little, she's having her friend, she's having her period is what she's having. So he just pulls out the tampon and throws it at the window, and it sticks. And then they all just start fucking each other. They go down on each other in all different configurations. It's 69, it's 29 because the kids are young, it's 9. The father bends his kid over on the guy's desk. He's like taking him from behind. All of a sudden, the kid can't take it. Diarrhea starts squirting out of his ass, and it won't stop. It's like a hemorrhaging shit ass. The kid starts spinning in a circle because he can't control it. It's kind of like Curly and the Stooges. Jeez, he's spinning it in a circle. The projectile shit is just flying out of him. It's going all over the room. It's like spinner. The room has got feces just dripping down. This poor kid is convulsing, starts throwing up. You don't know whether to shit or puke in this room. That's how. What the fuck am I doing? Then, wait, there's more. The mother clips all the nails off of one of her hands, puts it up her daughter, and starts working her like a puppet. She's spinning her on the hand, and while this is going on, it's down, 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 and they're skating in it, of course, and they're slipping. And with skating in your own feet and vomit and stuff, there's always going to be pratfalls because you can't help it. It's slapstick. So they're slipping in it, and they're covered in it, and their faces are covered in it. Then they all start singing "We Are Family" by Sister Sledge, which I think is offensive because you don't want to mix incest with feces and racism. I think it's wrong, and they shouldn't have done it. That's how I look at it. But you know what? An opening act's an opening act. So they continue. Father can't help himself, falls back, smacks his wife right in the mouth, knocks all of her teeth out, sticks his fist, accidentally, mind you, down her toothless throat. Unbelievable. He actually fists her neck. Trying to get her off of his hand, starts flailing around. Very strong man. Her body is flailing around, knocks all the kids against the wall. Their heads hit the wall and they crack. They're not dead. They're fine. Don't even worry about them. Their fall was broken by all the feces that was in their hair. So then they start singing "Make 'Em Laugh." They start singing "Make 'Em Laugh" and "Be a Clown." And the father's hemorrhoid pops, right? So he grabs it up, puts it on the end of his nose like a clown, like Emmett Kelly, except he's covered in shit. Then they all start making out. They're all kidding aside. The adrenaline, all the feces all over the wall, there's shit, there's vomit, and they've been running around. You get all heated. The kids are not bleeding bad. They get up, they're walking around kind of aimlessly. All 6 members of the family, and they just start making out very deeply with each other, like that old lady in Eraserhead with that guy. And then, of course, they all start vomiting because it's offensive to be kissing your family. By the way, this would be a good time right now to take your pants off and get some lotion. Because that's what happens next with this family. They just start jacking it. Can I get a tape of this for my reel? I want to show this to my dad. I got to finish the joke. They're all having sex with each other. And to me, if you're going to have sex, by the way, with like a 14-year-old kid, you should be doing it in a prison. So you're right there. It's like one-stop shopping. So that's where this joke should have taken place, in a prison. And then they should have all, the whole family should have been put to death immediately. But nope, they're making out and having sex. And they all take each other from behind, which is impossible because if you have a big train, everybody's doing it to each other. The person at the end is pissed. So what happens next? Let's see. They had a lot of sex. The room's covered in feces. The mother had a big boil on her back. That popped. Tampon finally by the end just kind of falls off the window. It was hanging there the whole time. The music gets more Carney-like. And they all start doing like a 3-ring circus with each other's tits. They're so gone right now. Oh, I'll tell you what happens right now. Father takes out some amyl nitrates. And he pops up like in The Professional, Gary Oldman. He goes like that. And then he just starts fucking going nuts. He doesn't Fred Astaire did. He goes dancing up the wall, and then he just starts kicking everybody right in the dicks. He kicks his kids in the dicks. He kicks his wife in the dick. I didn't fully tell you the whole story. The whole family has dicks. The entire family, kind of like Hermie family. And I haven't mentioned piss yet. There is piss everywhere. Because, by the way, if you're going to shit and have all these involuntary fluids coming out of you, there's got to be piss. I just wanted to go on record saying there's piss in the room as well. Because I think piss, by the way, it's kind of like if you ever watch the Food Network, they're going to show this on other planets. All right, he popped the name on nitrate. He's got smelling salts that he's been giving to his kids. They keep passing out, you know, the fact that their heads are bleeding and they've been anally raped in front of an agent yet. The room is just covered in piss and blood and hemorrhoids stuck to the father's nose, and they all go, ta-da! And the agent just looks at them and he says, "Well, that's never seen anything like that before." And he goes, "What do you people call yourselves?" And the father says, this is hard to do. It's hard to do the end of the joke. Because what he should have said is the mouth-fisting, dirty, sick, hemorrhoid-infested, bloody vomit, shit diarrhea covered, pedophilic piece of shit, aristocrat family. But that is just dirt. And it's not funny. I ain't laughing. So I would say, you have to say the punchline, don't you? The whole family. They do this whole, make them laugh, and they do a whole cute little ta-da, except two of the kids. They're half dead because they just had the shit kicked out of them. They're covered in feces. It's fucking horrible. And then they're like, and the father goes, "What do you think?"
All right, y'all get the gist of it. I mean, he basically told most of the joke, and it's not a joke. I didn't find nothing funny. Like, what was funny about anything that he said? But as you could hear, the person interviewing him was laughing like it was the funniest thing he ever heard. But yeah, this is the real Bob Saget. And again, he was on a family show where he was the father of 3 girls. But that's what happens in Hollywood. They put these sickos in these positions like that. It's the same like you got a child violator that decides to be a teacher so he can be close to kids. It's the same thing. So yeah, with Bob Saget having Sun in Taurus opposing Saturn and Scorpio, and that Saturn and Scorpio is in his first house. It's rising. So he's basically the devil incarnate. That's basically what he's embodying. And I'm glad he's dead. And people have speculated that, he was murdered. It was something about him being hit with a baseball bat or something like that. But I'm like, yeah, it sounded like he deserved that shit. But yeah, sick pervert with that Sun opposition Saturn. I wouldn't be surprised if he violated a bunch of children. All right. Sorry that y'all had to go through that, but I really wanted to drive the point home. Like he's one of the darker manifestations of that Sun opposition Saturn. Oh my God. Ew. Are we back on? Can you hear me? If you can hear me, press 1. They might have reinstated my live because I stopped playing the video. Okay, good. I think we're back on. Press 1 if you can hear me. And we're almost done here anyway. There's no sound. Damn. You can hear me? Yeah, I should have sped the clip up. Okay, good. You can hear me. Yo, that was crazy. And you know what the crazy part about it is? I got that video from YouTube. That video is on YouTube. So why are they shutting down my live if they're allowing that video to be up on YouTube? Y'all saw it with your own eyes. That video clip came from YouTube. But then they shut down my live stream because, or at least they did temporarily. I get it because that, and I did tell you, I was like, this is going to get me demonetized, like for real, like at least this video. But wow, okay. I'm just glad they allowed me to continue with this live stream. Now, I don't know if they're going to remove that clip, like when, for the replay. But yeah, that's crazy. But the fact that they stopped the live stream just shows you how disgusting Bob Saget is. Because they're not even allowing it on my live stream, but for some reason they allow that clip to still be on YouTube. And YouTube, there's a lot of forbidden stuff that is on YouTube that they don't ever take down. I don't know if that original clip is age restricted. I'll check later and see if it is. It might be, maybe that. But then, I could play other age restricted videos on clips and like they've never stopped the live stream. But yeah, that was crazy. I hope not either. If not, what I'll do, Jupiter, if they do try to put a strike on my channel, I'm gonna be like, that was my first time playing it. I didn't know how bad it was. I'm gonna be like, I didn't know how dirty it was gonna get. So and I've never had a strike on my channel before. So hopefully, if anything, they'll remove that clip probably on the replay. And I'm fine with that because who needed to hear it heard it if you was on my live stream right now. So yeah, that shit was crazy. So moving on, as you can see, we have Waka Flocka. So he has Sun opposition Saturn. So he has Sun and Gemini opposing Saturn and Sagittarius. So it says KO Red, the younger brother of rapper Waka Flocka Flame, died on December 29th of a gunshot wound. Investigators believe that the injury was self-inflicted. Red 27, whose real name was Codis Scott, was an aspiring rapper. So the fact that he lost his brother through death is Sun and Gemini opposing Saturn and Sagittarius. That Gemini is representing his brother. The Atlanta entertainer recently pleaded for a confidentiality order in his ongoing divorce case. Reportedly, Waka argued the divorce records, including their financial information, should be sealed because he and Tammy are public figures. His motion purportedly also asked the judge to order all parties to refrain from discussing the proceedings and any aspect of the proceedings in the media, to include but not limited to social media, print media, internet, radio, and or television media. So he's trying to basically get the media to stop, basically get the judge, which is represented by Saturn and Sagittarius, to basically file a moratorium, or where he basically says all of the releasing of information to the media has to stop, with Gemini ruling the media and Sagittarius ruling the judge. All right, so that was quick with Waka. Let me know when you could see the next image. And again, I don't think I have many more left. I think I did cover mostly everybody so far. Just 1 second while I'm waiting for y'all to see the image. I'll be right back. All right. Now we have, okay, Mr. Chingy, yes. So, right. I feel you, Sarah. Yeah. Now, hopefully YouTube won't give me a strike, especially since I never had a strike before. And again, I'll just play ignorant. Like, I didn't know that it was going to be that vulgar. All right, so Chingy, he has Sun in Pisces opposing Saturn in Virgo. Now, his story is kind of sad. So it says in 2010, the transgender model accused Chingy of having a sexual relationship with her, which she since admitted it was a lie. Back in 2010, transgender model Sydney Starr came forward to accuse Chingy of having a sexual relationship with her. And he says things just haven't been the same since. So basically, in this case, Sydney Starr, the transgender model, is represented by Sun in Pisces, and then his reputation being ruined as a result of her lying is Sun in Pisces opposing Saturn in Virgo. Now, during a recent interview with TMZ, the performer reflected on the allegations and subsequent backlash, revealing how difficult it was for him to recover professionally. And that Saturn's representing his professional life. According to him, it took a serious toll on his reputation and career, largely due to a homophobic and transphobic culture. In 2012, Starr revealed that the allegations were made up, admitting that she and Chingy never had an affair and apologizing. Regardless, the clowning, that's Pisces, has followed him, though he's decided not to hold on to the hurt. When that happened, I lost a lot of stuff based off of a lie, which was just the oddest thing I'd ever seen. He told the outlet, "Nah, man, when the individual apologized, it so-called went away, which it took years to blow away. Nah, man, ain't nothing good happened from that for me." So you see where it's saying it took years, and that's Sun opposition Saturn. So I feel bad that he had to go through that because that Sydney Starr wanted to lie on him. But I remember when that rumor was out there. I like Redman Blazing. I think he's cool. I think he's funny. I like that he's down to earth. All right, let me know when you can see the next person. I feel so violated with YouTube just stopping my live stream like that. Even though they're saying I violated their terms of service or guidelines or something. First of all, what guidelines? Because it's not like I have this channel set to view for children. And I've seen all types of disgusting stuff discussed on YouTube. So what are they talking about, including during live streams? So what are they talking about guidelines? Or maybe it was because I was just playing one of their videos and I was playing it too long. You think that could have been it? Or do you think it was due to the vulgarity of the content? Because again, I've heard plenty of vulgar stuff on YouTube videos, including live streams, and they weren't shut down. But then again, I've played YouTube videos on live streams and haven't been shut down. So I do think it was the vulgarity of it. Okay, yes, we have Mr. Blair Underwood. So Blair Underwood has Sun in Virgo opposing Saturn in Pisces. So his father, Frank Eugene Underwood, was a United States Army colonel. So basically, him having that father that was probably very strict and whatever, and where he might have felt like, he didn't want to disappoint his father in a number of ways. That could be Sun in Virgo, opposition, Saturn in Pisces. Now, in this case, the Sun in Virgo is representing his father with the Army. Now, Underwood lived on bases and Army posts in the United States and Stuttgart, Germany, throughout his childhood due to his father's military career. Now, with Sun in Virgo opposing Saturn and Pisces, being a military brat can feel isolating. So I'm sure he felt that sense of isolation, which is what this opposition is implying, because he was having to move all over the place due to his father being in the military. So Blair Underwood became an honorary member of the Phi Beta Sigma fraternity, So being in a fraternity that's Pisces, because Pisces rules secret societies, and then being an honorary member, that would be the Saturn influence. Underwood is a part of several charitable organizations. He won the 1993 Humanitarian Award for his work with the Los Angeles chapter of the Muscular Dystrophy Association. In 2003, along with Ashley Judd, he served as the spokesperson for Youth AIDS. In addition, he is involved with the AIDS Healthcare Foundation, Blair's Underwood Clinic in Washington, D.C. So you see how he's very involved in like the medical field in terms of charities. That's very much Sun in Virgo opposing Saturn and Pisces, and where he's placed in these high positions and where he's given a lot of responsibility and all that. And that foundation is very much that Saturn and Pisces. Now, he is a trustee for the Roby Theater Company in Los Angeles, a nonprofit theater group founded by Danny Glover, focusing on plays about the Black experience. So that's dealing with that again. So yes. All right. So now we're going to talk about an inanimate object, or maybe I shouldn't say inanimate because nations are animated, I would say, because they're full of people and animal life and plant life and all that. So let me know when you can see the next image. Oh, I like that movie, Jupiter Asunder. He did play the psycho role really well. He scared me. Yep, he's a Virgo. Sun in Virgo opposing Saturn in Pisces. Sarah said, bitches are everywhere, and in this Aquarian day and age, nothing makes sense. Backwards and upside down, it's the new normal, unfortunately. All right. So we have the state of Hawaii. The 50th state has Sun opposition Saturn. Now, this is a dissociative opposition, meaning it's consisting of signs that do not naturally oppose each other. And that's just due to the degrees of the signs. So Hawaii has Sun in Sagittarius, which makes sense because Sagittarius rules long distances, and Hawaii is so far away from the contiguous United States, and Sagittarius rules vacations, and Hawaii is a major vacation spot. And then the money. It's very expensive to live in Hawaii because a lot of things have to be flown in, and that's very much dealing with this opposition as well. Now, it is the only state not on the North American mainland, so that's dealing with that opposition. As one of the only 6 majority minority states, it has the only Asian American plurality, the largest Buddhist community, and the largest proportion of multiracial people in the U.S. Consequently, Hawaii is a unique melting pot of North American and Eastern Asian cultures, in addition to its indigenous Hawaiian heritage. So that's speaking of that opposition as well, especially when you take into account the multiracial, which is Sagittarius. Also the melting pot, that's Sagittarius, the Buddhist community, the largest Buddhist community. And Saturn and Taurus would be representing the standard, which is the North American mainland. Now, has anybody been to Hawaii? Yes, Hawaii is so beautiful. I had the pleasure of going to Hawaii. I think I went in 2010, and it was so beautiful. And the people in Hawaii are so warm and welcoming. Like, they treat you like family. I was able to go to Pearl Harbor and everything. It was really nice. But one thing I wasn't too crazy about was that Hawaiian food. When I went, it wasn't super hot at all. And I think I went in the summertime. In Hawaii, the wind is always blowing. It's very breezy. So yeah, I really didn't experience like heat. And I can't remember the exact month I went. Historically dominated by a plantation economy, Hawaii remains a major agricultural exporter due to its fertile soil and uniquely tropical climate in the U.S. So, yeah, I remember being in Hawaii and passing by the dole plant with all the pineapple plants, the pineapple crops. So yeah, with the agriculture, that's Saturn in Taurus, and the exporting would be Sun in Sagittarius. Now, Hawaii's isolation results in one of the highest costs of living in the United States. However, Hawaii is the third wealthiest state, and residents have the longest life expectancy of any U.S. state at 80.7 years. Makes sense because the living in Hawaii is very laid back, and like I said, the people are very warm and welcoming, and it's a very stress-free type of life. Maybe not in recent times because the cost of living has gone up tremendously in Hawaii, just like it has in other states. So if it was already expensive to live in Hawaii, you could just imagine how crazy it is now. And Hawaii has a major problem with homelessness as well. But you see how they talk about the longest life expectancy, and that's dealing with that opposition with Saturn, because again, Saturn rules time. It was with statehood in 1959 that the Hawaii tourism industry began to grow. And that's Sun opposition Saturn as well. According to Hawaiian scholar Hanani K. Trask, tourism in Hawaii has led to the commodification and exploitation of Hawaiian culture, resulting in insidious forms of cultural prostitution. Hawaii has been used to fuel ideas of escapism, yet tourism in Hawaii ignores the harm Kanaka and locals experience. Cultural traditions such as the hula have been made ornamental, a form of exotica for tourists, as a way for large corporations and landowners to gain profit over the exploitation of Hawaiian people and culture. Exploitation is Saturn, so that's Sun opposition Saturn. Now, the bans and restrictions upon what produce and other plant life tourists can bring into Hawaii also pertains to this opposition as well. So I remember when I was going to Hawaii, and Hawaiian Airlines, they basically make sure that you're not bringing any type of fruit or vegetables from the United States, like from the contiguous United States over to Hawaii, because what they don't want their state to be invaded by different insects and stuff like that. They're really trying to preserve their habitat. And then let me know when you can see the next image. I would think there would be snakes in Hawaii. Well, I don't know if you're talking about Hawaii, Sarah. Seems like there's snakes everywhere. Jamaica, Jamaica. Jamaica, Jamaica. Jamaica, Jamaica, mom. Jamaica. Now, I've never been to Jamaica before, but I probably will make my way there someday. Jamaica, Jamaica. All right, Jamaica. So Jamaica has Sun opposition Saturn. So Jamaica has Sun in Leo, which makes so much sense because they're very much about that Iron Lion Zion. So Bob Marley had that song Iron Lion Zion, and they're just very much about that. Lion is a figure, it's very much Rastafarian type of motif. So Sun in Leo opposition Saturn in Aquarius. Jamaica is a parliamentary constitutional monarchy. Keyword monarchy, that's Sun in Leo. But you see how it's not a full monarchy, and that's where this opposition comes in. So it says Jamaica is a parliamentary constitutional monarchy meaning being ruled by a king and queen. And that's Leo. Leo rules monarchies, king and queen, with power vested in the bicameral Parliament of Jamaica, consisting of an appointed Senate and directly elected House of Representatives. Andrew Holness has served as Prime Minister of Jamaica since March 2016. As a Commonwealth realm, with Charles III as its king, the appointed representative of the crown is the Governor General of Jamaica, an office held by Patrick Allen since 2009. During the centuries of slavery, Jamaican Maroons established free communities in the mountainous interior of Jamaica. See, mountainous, that's Saturn, where they maintained their freedom and independence, Saturn and Aquarius, for generations under the leadership of Maroon leaders such as Juan de Ceres. So these Maroons are basically represented by Saturn and Aquarius because the Maroons were rebels. Now, Jamaica slowly gained increasing autonomy, that's Aquarius, from the United Kingdom. In 1958, it became a province in the Federation of the West Indies, a federation of several of Britain's Caribbean colonies. Membership of the federation proved to be divisive, however, and a referendum on the issue saw a slight majority voting to leave. After leaving the federation, Jamaica attained full independence on August 6, 1962. That wasn't that long ago. The new state retained, however, its membership in the Commonwealth of Nations with the British monarch as head of state and adopted a Westminster-style parliamentary system. Bustamante, at the age of 78, became the country's first prime minister. So that concludes part 2 of my video on Sun opposition Saturn. I hope you enjoyed it. This one was crazy because I was not expected to be shut down by YouTube. But isn't this crazy? See, I love the way life works sometimes. This is so synchronous because I'm talking about Sun opposition Saturn. And remember, one of the manifestations I talk about is being shut down, being stopped, being censored. And that's exactly what happened tonight when I was talking about one of the worst examples of Sun opposition Saturn. So, I don't believe in coincidences. That, this happened when I'm doing this Sun opposition Saturn video. But yeah, I really enjoyed doing the research and looking into these charts and seeing the different manifestations of Sun opposition Saturn. And I got more videos coming, so stay tuned for that. I plan on going live this Saturday, and it might be another sponsor video, but it might not if I don't have enough time to get it completed by then. But hopefully I will be able to go live. But thank you, everybody, for tuning into this live stream. I hope that they will allow it to replay because I think, it is a pretty good video. So I would love for other people to see it that didn't get a chance to see it tonight. So hopefully they'll allow it to replay. If they don't, I will appeal it. So hopefully, they might just say, just remove that clip, or they might remove it for me. But yeah, thank you to all my subscribers, my channel members, my patrons, my clients. Thank you, everybody. Have a wonderful night. I'll be back soon. Peace.